Well, it's good to see everyone today. I think we've got some folks here interested in this, so it's really great to see you all. Hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to the University of South Alabama's Biomedical Sciences Department. Like I said, it's wonderful to see you all. Those who are currently attending with us live via Zoom, and also those of you who may be watching this at a later time of the recording. This is our third meet and greet organized by Dr. Terry Ravine in our department, who you will meet in a little bit. And appreciate Terry's, all his work and getting this organized every year, along with Miss Bernadette Stanford, our secretary. So thank you all very much for your hard work. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nancy Rice, and I currently serve as professor and chair of the Biomedical Sciences Department. I would say that you have chosen very well your program of study. I would actually say you've probably chosen the best program of study at the University of South Alabama. As one of the largest majors at South and one of only a very few undergraduate biomedical science programs in the nation, we offer you, during your 4 years here, a hands-on curriculum focused on studying science from a human perspective. And that's quite unusual in undergraduate curriculums, where that is the focus. You'll see as you move through that our program emphasizes strong foundations in anatomy, physiology, lots of biochemistry, and microbiology, which will then be followed by elective work of your choosing in one of 3 concentrations, 2 of which are brand new this fall with you're entering class. So we have a long history of preparing students very well for pre-health professional majors, setting the foundation for medical school, dental school, pharmacy, veterinary, those. But we've also expanded our program to increase the breadth of opportunity for you and your peers in other health-related professions. And so as you move through our program, you will see that beginning this fall, we also have pathways now for a concentration in public and global health, if that is of interest to you, as well as biotechnology, which will be a much more hands-on research-based curriculum than our traditional professional health professions concentration. And that professional health concentration is obviously still available. It's our strength, and we have many alumni of this program who are now physicians, dentists, pharmacists all over the country. So you're going to hear today from a lot of people who are going to talk about these different opportunities that you will have as you move through the program. In addition to that foundational coursework, we offer a variety of independent research experiences, working with our nationally recognized faculty that you will meet. We have degree-related study abroad opportunities. We have service learning medical work in rural Kenya, and we have study abroad opportunities in England, learning about the history of medicine and scientific discoveries, how they came about. So quite often, if you're interested in study abroad, it tends to be a gen ed class, but we have programs that allow you to study abroad and learn within your major and apply it to your program, which I think is very exciting. We also have opportunities to get involved in several clubs, and you will meet with, you will hear from leaders of the BMD Society, which is an affiliate of the national organization of the American Association of Molecular Biology and Biochemistry, which will also provide an opportunity for you to get national honors and other benefits from being affiliated with the national program. And you'll be hearing about all of those. I'm not going to tell you that. It's better to hear from the people that are actually doing, students that are actually your age. So I have a few notes. I want to make sure that I'm telling you everything I want to. So what will you be able to do with a Bachelor's of Science in Biomedical Sciences? This degree is a gateway to numerous health-related careers. I've mentioned a few of those: biomedical research, pharmaceutical sales, public health, medical practice work, being a physician, being a PA, being a dentist, or even health education. And additionally, many of our students pursue graduate work in professional studies further in medical, dental, pharmacy, physical therapy, physician assistant, occupational therapy. And those programs you can get right here in the Pat Katz Covey College of Allied Health. So we would love to see you not only be with us for 4 years, but continue in your graduate work here too as well, if that's of interest to you. And of course, department completely, you will see today, and you will learn more and more as you progress through our program, as you continue, that the strength of our faculty, of our program, comes from our amazing faculty. They provide a friendly and engaging academic atmosphere that will stretch you, will challenge you academically, and above all, they are committed to your intellectual and personal growth as a student. We are here for you. Our greatest achievement is to watch you succeed. So that's kind of a little introduction to biomedical sciences. I'm so glad to see you all here today. And I will be coming back to say a few words at the end of this time. I would like to say a couple things before I introduce our next speaker. You are welcome to, I'm going to try to monitor their chat a little bit. We've discussed this. It's kind of difficult, but when I'm not speaking, I'll try to monitor that. If you have specific questions as people are talking. We also have an email address you can be found on our webpage. It's bmddept@southalabama.edu. And you're welcome to email us any questions or concerns you have to that inbox. So it's my great privilege today to introduce Dean Susan Gordon Hickey. Dr. Hickey is Associate Professor of Audiology in our college and currently serves us as the interim Dean of the college. She's a tremendous champion for students, and we so appreciate her support of our program and department, and we really are so happy that you're here today with us. Dr. Gordon Hickey, it's all you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's very exciting as a two-time alum of the University of South Alabama to welcome new students and welcome you to the JAG family. USA is a wonderful place to make your college career and certainly a great place for a career as well. We're happy to have you. 2020 has been weird. It's different. You are 2D images right now. I'm used to, and we're all used to seeing you in the classroom, and we really look forward to doing that someday soon, or doing it more as time goes by. But you are learning a lot about public health in 2020, and that will aid you in your career, whatever it may be. What I wanted to do today was welcome you, but also share with you the advice that my dad gave me when I finished my first semester of college. And he was on faculty at the university that I went to, and he checked my grades before I could. I earned less than a 2.0 GPA, and I had to recover. I had to recover from a really rough first term. And many of you have 4.0 GPAs in high school, or just amazing GPAs from high school. And maybe you didn't have to do a lot of study to earn those great GPAs. And today's a time to think about that and to realize that you may actually stumble and have to have a tough moment to recover and then learn how to study and how to gain the knowledge you need to embark upon the career that you want. So my advice comes with a few items. The first is to get involved. Get involved with student groups, as Dr. Rice mentioned. Get involved on campus and in the community. If you want to be a healthcare provider, the graduate programs are going to be looking for people who can relate to other people. And you won't be relating to people who are just like you. You'll need to understand all different types of people from all different backgrounds. And to do that, you got to get out there. And we want you to have those experiences. So get involved, volunteer, learn about different career options as well. Some of you think that you know exactly what you want to do, and that's maybe the perfect career for you. But others of you may not be sure what you want to do, and you may need to explore different career options. So South is a place where you certainly can do that. My second piece of advice to you in order to do well in college is to take care of yourself. Develop good study habits, go to class, pay attention. It's so easy to multitask when you're in a Zoom meeting. I'm going to encourage you to try to stop that multitasking behavior and really pay attention. Ask questions. Read the material that your faculty members assign to you and be an involved student. So be an active learner. So maybe you still stumble and you're not sure what to do and you can't figure it out on your own. You have the faculty that are here today. You've got a premier faculty of people who care about you. They are excellent scientists and they're very happy to share their knowledge with you. I would go ahead and go to their office hours. So log into their Zoom office hours, call them, email them, ask questions. In doing that and in taking care of yourself as part of this, one of the things you'll want to do is check in with your advisor here and there. Maybe one of the things you need to do is check in with a tutor or career services on campus. USA has a lot of opportunities for you in terms of support services. One of the things we often forget to do are those basic things for ourselves. Eat right, stay hydrated, exercise, and get good sleep. You will earn a far better GPA and learn a lot more if you can do those things. So as I said before, I struggled my first semester, and my dad sat down and talked with me and talked to me about taking care of myself and about the appropriate amount of time to study for each class and so on and so forth. And I was able to recover. Remember that if you have a tough moment, that's okay, you're human. And you can recover, but you're gonna have to work really hard and be determined and put in the time and the effort. The last piece of advice that I have before I close is to get involved with your faculty. The scientists and teachers that you see before you today are excellent researchers. They're amazing instructors. And they have a lot to give outside of class in that they do active research that you could become involved with. As a freshman in college, that may seem very intimidating, but as you grow in your scientific career and in your academic career, I think you'll find that research can be an exciting thing. Also, one of the things that you'll find is you've got a great group here. You see some fellow students right now. I see a group of them sitting together right now. You are colleagues, you are teammates. Biomedical Sciences is part of the College of Allied Health Professions. We are allies in healthcare, and you're now part of that group of allies. You're part of the JAG family, and we welcome you here. We hope that you will share our spirit of teamwork and be successful here at the University of South Alabama. It's possible that the next time I see you, you'll be walking across the stage at graduation, and I'll be honored to shake your hand. We really look forward to that. Between now and then, apply for scholarships, expand your horizons, see how you can be a successful contributor to the community. We welcome you to the University of South Alabama. Congratulations on selecting biomedical sciences and good luck to you. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Dean Gordon Hickey. Personally, I'd wish I'd followed some of those words of wisdom when I was younger. And that kind of brings me up to the people that I should have listened to in my young academic environment. And I'm not going to tell you how many school transcripts I've got for the people that are attending, but there's more than 4. So from that standpoint, I'd like to, at this time, introduce Mr. DeLeon, and correct me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, Blackman, and Mrs. Jayla Mccullough, or Macador. I'm sorry for that, but I'm going to hand the talk over to these 2 individuals. They're both from academic advising and transfer services, and they're also doing double duty by standing in as our BMD program advisors at this time. So I hand it over to you. And again, appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you so much. So my name is actually DeLon Blackman, here with my colleague Jayla McAdory. We are academic advisors. So our primary job, well, most people understand us as the people you need to see in order to get the hold removed from your account so you can register for classes in the spring. But our primary job is to make sure that you are in the correct classes, to make sure that you are utilizing all of your resources that you technically already paid for, and just to make sure that you're staying on the right track for your experience throughout college. So most of you have either already seen or will be seeing Jayla or myself pretty soon. It's really good to make sure that you have regular appointments with your academic advisor, just to make sure that nothing's going wrong, or just keep you on track. Just also wanted to reiterate that we do also have pre-health advising and academic advising and transfer services. That's done by Miss Patty Davis and Miss Amanda Frey-Aldenhoven. So when you're preparing for medical school, pre-PT, pre-OT, they are really great resources for you to use. So I will turn it over to Jayla now.
Well, DeLon, you actually covered a lot of what I wanted to speak about, but as DeLon said, we are definitely more than just advisors, and we're here to guide you toward resources, whether that be outside of South. So if you're looking for volunteering, or you're looking, into other programs, we can help you with that. We have pre-health advising where you can sign up for newsletters. DeLon can drop that link in the chat, where you guys can go ahead and subscribe to those and just receive updates for opportunities there. Let's see, also, tutoring. Dr. Gordon Hickey mentioned a lot of good resources and things that you guys should take advantage of, whether it be, tutoring, academic coaching, because this will prepare you to when you get into those core classes with BMD. So you'll meet with DeLon and I your first year, and then after that, we'll be passing you along to faculty in allied health. So it's good if you're prepared to meet with them and you know what you're needing, and they'll be able to better guide you from that standpoint. But that's really all that I have for today.
Well, I want to thank both of you for being here tonight. And I know you're pulling double duty, so much appreciated. And then you can send me the butcher's bill for the name, all right? And I'll get that to you later. Next, we'd like to kind of move on to the faculty introductions. And we're going to just do it in alphabetical order. And if I got my alphabet correct, it'll be Dr. Gorlick first. So I'd like to introduce her and just hand the mic over to her. Dr. Gorlick, looks like we got some technical difficulties. Maybe if you can unmute.
So
Thank you.
sorry. So sorry. Okay. My name is Gabriela Gorelik, and I really want to welcome to every one of you to this department. And I will be your instructor for immunology, human genetics, and pharmacology. So I will be with you during your junior and senior year. And until then, you will be free of me. But I do also research, and I do research about my area. My field is immunology, and I study T cells that are very important during our immune response. And I'm trying to study what is the role of those cells during several different diseases, most of them autoimmune diseases. And here I can see one student that is already with me. And even if I'm gonna be with you in your junior year, I'm here, always here. So any question that you can have, if you are even interested in doing some lab work during your college years, I'm here and you are welcome. And I wish you really the best during these 4 years that you will remember forever, even if you don't want to, but you will. So we'll be here, and we all are here. And I'm looking forward to having you as students and to work together. Thank you. And now I'm going to present Dr. What doctor? In your alphabetical order.
I think it's me, right?
Alison Harrison, Dr.
I'm ahead.
Alison Henry.
And
Sorry.
The great thing is they already have to listen to me once a week for an hour. So you already know that I teach
Okay.
101. And bizarrely, I will see, well, there's food science that hopefully would love to have you as an elective. I would love for you to go with us to England as another elective. We have fantastic electives in BMD. You don't even need to leave. And would also be seeing you your senior year in medical microbiology. And Dr. Rice hit it right on the head. Sometimes you make all these plans, you're a freshman, yeah, I'm definitely going to this particular location, but I just tonight got, you don't want to get an email from the FBI because that means you're doing something sketchy, even if I'm just stuck in my kitchen since March. But one of our students has been preliminarily, all right, has been recommended. She's out there asking for a recommendation because she looks to be joining the Counterterrorism and Forensic Science Research Facility in Quantico. So you just never know where you're going to end up. And I'm sending that tonight because apparently it's due by 11 because it's a government thing. But I hope that you know that you have an awesome staff, you have an awesome college, an awesome department, and people that care about you while you're here, and we are here to help you with whatever you need. And come visit us. We have like stickers on the ground. You can social distance if you have a problem, but we hope to see you all in a much regular fashion soon. That's it. And I looked it up, so it's Dr. Mockett now.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure to meet all of you, at least through a computer screen. I'm Dr. Robin Mockett, and I will be teaching you a variety of courses. For a number of you already, the first course is BMD 201, which is Seminars in Biomedical Sciences, and is an expanded version of what we're doing for an hour here tonight, which is to introduce you to the department, how to get organized and use these next years to your benefit, and to learn a little bit about the research that many of us do. I should then see you again in the third year for the first human physiology lecture course in the fall, and for the physiology laboratory in the spring of the junior year. Then I should see a number of you for the neuroscience course in the senior fall, and others, or the same ones, for an introduction to research in the senior spring. For those who want to do research more directly rather than hearing about it in a classroom setting, we have directed research studies, which are mentored by a variety of us and coordinated by Dr. Rice. For those who are in honors, we have honors research thesis course, which again a number of us mentor, and I do the coordinating for that one. That can involve things like helping to find research mentors. Outside the classroom, my second pillar is to do research. We're not here just to impart existing knowledge, but to acquire new knowledge. And you should have the opportunity to participate already in that process. My own research field is the biology of aging. So I am one of these flamboyant characters who are looking for the elixir of life, hoping that we will all get to live 100 or perhaps 200 years. And so this can be my plug for everybody to consider that as a wonderful objective to which we should strive. And I will turn it now to Dr. Ravine.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Mockett. And I hope everybody's not catching the shine too much off the top of my head. Unfortunately, my lights aren't working too well today, so just kind of bear with me. I'm Dr. Terry Ravine, and I've been with the department about 11 years now, and I teach several courses, including the Bmd 210, which is the microbiology and healthcare environment, and then the associated lab. And then I also teach Bmd 251, which is the Human Anatomy and Physiology 1. And then also the second part, which is Bmd 252, Human Anatomy and Physiology 2. I'm also involved in Bmd 499, which is the Honors Research Thesis course, and either as a committee member or sometimes as the research mentor. And then occasionally, I'll have a student that'll participate in Bmd 494, which is our directed research studies course. And my research interests are kind of somewhat varied, and they range from the basic science research to clinically applied research. And I've been looking at the ability of different bacteria and fungi to attach to what are called thermoplastic immobilization masks. And these are actually devices that are used to hold patients still during high dosage radiation therapy treatments. And I'm currently trying to determine if dormant bacterial spores, which are survival forms, will attach better to the mask than their actively growing counterparts. And then I also try to see how long the bacteria and the fungi that attach to the mask can actually last on these forms. Also involved in a collaboration with two chemical and biomedical engineering faculty. And what they did is they developed a new biocide compound that can be attached to fabrics. And biocides are just chemical compounds that can inhibit or kill microorganisms. So they wanted me to see if their biocide was effective at preventing bacterial growth. And what we had to do is develop a new, it's called a color-based or chromogenic test method that could easily demonstrate whether or not the biocide, the chemical compound in the fabric, could inhibit the bacteria. And a current BMD senior student was involved in this venture who started it as a summer project, and she'll be speaking a little bit later. I'm also engaged in another collaborative effort with 2 chemistry department members. And here, a novel boronium ion, which is a boron-based ion, was created by one of our chemistry professors. And then he came over to me and he wanted it tested for its ability to inhibit or kill microorganisms. And long story short, one of his postdoctoral students from his lab and I did the initial testing. And what we found out is it did not prevent the test bacteria from growing. So instead of kind of giving up and throwing in the towel, we went ahead and we modified the compound by adding a single functional group, for you people in chemistry, and then retested it against 3 different bacteria. And so far, the initial results have been promising. The new compound was shown to be about 4 to 8 times more effective at inhibiting the bacteria than a commercial disinfectant. And so we hope to continue the study and to look at the ionic compound's ability to maybe even eliminate viruses. And at this point in time, I'm going to hand the conversation over to Dr. Nancy Rice, who you've already heard is the Bmd Chairperson. So Dr. Rice, please take it away.
Hi, this is my opportunity to tell you about my role now as a professor and faculty in the department. The primary courses that I teach, I've taught several and will continue to develop a few more because my background has some has a public health aspect that we'll be bringing to one of our concentrations. Currently, I teach a 400 level elective called the Molecular Basis of Cancer. It's after you've had Dr. Mockett's physiology and Dr. Shokolenko's physiology. We'll be integrating that into sort of what happens in the abnormal process of cell transformation in cancer, looking at specific signaling pathways and such. And looking also, delving into sort of the societal implications of cancer in our culture. I have taught our ethics course. Don't know that will be a regular thing. And then developing this fall, spring, a new course in global health. My research emphasis, I'm trained in biochemistry and molecular biology, and really my research interest is looking at regulation of gene expression in various chronic diseases. And I, over the course of my career, sort of span metabolic disease to pulmonary disease, and now we're focusing on cardiac disease, and specifically the leading risk factor for heart disease, which is hypertension and high blood pressure. But the focus of my work is looking at the genetic regulation of a family of genes that predisposes people to high blood pressure, specifically focusing on those populations that live in low and middle income countries, using a rural population in Kenya as a model country for our studies. So what we're looking at is various genetic modifications that happen or could happen as a result of various exposures in these individuals, which predisposes them to high blood pressure. There's I would love to talk about this if anybody wanted to come and talk more about it, but there is a high prevalence of high blood pressure in low and middle income countries. It's growing. The percent of incidence and prevalence is getting more and more over time, and the UN and the WHO predict that this is one of the leading, it's the leading cause of death globally, and it will be affecting those countries in we used to call them third world, now they're low and middle income countries, the most, where they're not prepared to deal both with acute and chronic disease. So we're really looking at the molecular epidemiology of heart disease in these populations. And so I'm running through my alphabet. It's my turn now to turn it over to Dr. Shokolenko.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And my name is Dr. Ina Shokolenko, and I teach several courses in this department, in other departments. So I will start with BMD. And so I teach human anatomy. It's a standalone course, and we offer it twice a year. So it makes it a little bit more flexible. And usually the students who take this course, mostly juniors, but some of the students may actually come in as sophomores, and some may take it as seniors. And so that's Human Anatomy 311. And also I teach human physiology, the second part. So Dr. Market teaches the first part in the lab, and I teach the second part. And right now we have this course scheduled for spring. So this is spring semester course. And also, well, but I would say my specialty is growth lab, and I'm involved with teaching cadaver lab and doing growth dissections in physician assistant program and in the physical therapy program and occupational therapy program. So we do, we work with cadavers, we study them. We have a growth lab here and in College of Medicine that is just across the parking lot. Another lab experience that I involved with is neuroanatomy lab, and other departments have courses where I teach neuroanatomy, physical therapy, again, occupational therapy. But we here in our department have a neuroscience course that usually is taken by seniors in the fall. And this course have a neuroanatomy lab component where our students will have opportunity to study real brain specimens here in our neuroscience lab. So also we're thinking about extending our offering as a department, and maybe in the future, hopefully, we'll be adding some gross cadaveric experience to our undergraduate students, which would be only fitting for this type of program that we have here. So that's, I hope it will be, these plans will come to fruition very soon. And so this is what I do. And now I will offer the podium to Dr. Brett Swigert, right? Am I right? Right? Okay.
Yep, I do follow you in the alphabet. Thanks, Ina. Well, my name's Brad Swigert, and I am an assistant professor in the BMD department here. My primary course load is BMD 251 and 252. Like Dr. Ravine, that's the 200 level, 2-semester anatomy and physiology. And unfortunately, many of you aren't going to be taking that particular course. You'll be taking the 300 level that Drs. Mockett and Shokolenko teach. So a lot of the interaction I get with BMD students tends to come from thesis committees and honors research and things like that. I have just over the summer, I did teach for the first time a medical physiology course at the graduate level for the physician assistant program, but I do have a unique perspective for our department because I'm something of a homegrown product. I am a former BMD graduate from a few years ago. Not, you know, we did have electricity whenever I was in college, but we used typewriters rather than computers typically, and most students carried pagers instead of cell phones. But I was a I was a student in BMD. Unfortunately, all of those professors have since retired, so there aren't any around now. After I graduated, I then just walked across the street to the College of Medicine, and that's where I got my PhD. During that time, my lab research focused primarily on mitochondria, and I know you've all heard of those organelles before. They are the powerhouses of the cell, right? That's what every textbook in the world describes. However, I wasn't interested in the ATP production. Instead, I was interested in how mitochondria acted as signaling organelles. They are able to do other things besides make ATP, and particularly in lung diseases, people have a hard time breathing in oxygen. And we discovered that mitochondria will detect these oxygen levels, and they appeared to signal that to the nucleus to try and turn on new genes that might help somebody with lung disease overcome that, or at least manage it a little bit better. I currently don't have any lab research projects going, and I've focused more on active learning in the classroom and student engagement strategies, trying to get students more involved in the course material, whether it's homework or textbook readings, as well as classroom engagement. That's been my primary focus, to take things a little bit further than when I was in school, where you just tried your best to write down every single thing the professor said and wrote on the blackboard. But in a nutshell, that's mostly what I do here, and I'd be glad to speak with any of you after today if you're interested in graduate school here or just my perspective on South Alabama in general. But with that, I would now like to pass the mic to, last but certainly not least, Dr. Padma Thulasi Rahman.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, students. My name is Dr. Thulasi Rahman. I see a couple of names here that I'm familiar with. Also, some of you are taking my biochemistry class right now. Even though I don't see you in the Zoom meetings, I recognize the names. So welcome to everyone. Like I said, I teach Biochemistry 1 and Biochemistry 2, so I might see you in your sophomore or junior year, as these courses are offered both in the fall and the spring semesters. I also teach Biochemistry Lab, which I'll see you in your junior year, spring semester. I also do BMD 499. I'm mentor to many students in research. I also have taken students in BMD 494, the research studies course. Sometimes it starts out as a one semester stint of BMD 494, and ends up the students will stay for another extra semester or two. So either way, with BMD 499 or 494, I do research. So that gets me to the research component. I work in the breast cancer area. So I'm worked with different types of cancer, but focused on the breast cancer. I have a lot of different projects ongoing right now. One of the projects that I'm very interested in is finding different natural products that improve the efficacy of chemotherapeutic agents. As you know, chemotherapy involves a lot of cardiotoxicity. So I'm involved with using different natural products and looking at whether it improves the efficacy and reduces the toxicity levels of chemotherapeutic agents. I'm also involved in another project that looks at mechanisms of chemoresistance and cancer progression. A new baby project right now is that of involvement of cancer in the immune system. So if any of these words seem interesting to you, reach out to me. My email is on the website, so reach out to me and we can talk about that. I think that concludes the faculty introduction. So I'm going to now introduce the faculty's go-to person, and I'm sure it'll be your go-to person at some point in your career. Now to BMD Secretary, Ms. Stanifer.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bernadette Standifer. I am the Secretary for the Department of Biomedical Sciences. And hi, Heather. It's good to see you. Hi, and Saja. I've been receiving emails from you, so it's nice to put a face with an email. I am the secretary, and I will be handling things such as overrides, booking the rooms if you need to schedule a room for, meetings that you may have, such as with the BMD Society, which I'm quite sure Ian and Dr. Rabin will probably discuss more. If you need to schedule an appointment to see Dr. Rice, you will send an email to me. Make sure you guys get that email, BMD DEPT, that email address. So that's the best way to contact us. And I check that on a regular basis, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I like to think of myself more than just a secretary. I like to be there to assist the students. If you need assistance, if you cannot get to the faculty and you need to reach out, you can contact me, and I will try to help you with that. But I try to be there to assist the students as well as the faculty. You will find out that you have a great group of people that will be instructing you. They have a great love for the students. They will go that extra mile. So I'm here for you. If you need anything, just contact me. And like I said, please use that BMD DEPT email address. And thank you. Nice to meet you. That's it. And now I'll turn it over to Dr. Rice.
I think next is for me to introduce Saja to talk about the BMD Society and ASBMB. So I will do so.
Oh, that's my cue, right? Okay. Hey, hello. My name is Saja. So I'm the president of the BMD Society this year. And the BMD Society is a bit distinct from other organizations like AD and Future PharmD and other pre-professional organizations. This is because it allows students to hear from a range of professions. So this is ideal for those of you who are undecided on your career paths. BMD is also involves a less time commitment because there's no service obligation. So you just come to the meetings and you hear from a whole bunch of different speakers, and it's actually really helpful for someone who's kind of undecided on what they want to do. So we actually have a meeting tonight at 6. The Zoom link was sent in the digest, and the speaker is Dr. Harlan, who is an interventional radiologist. And we'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Saja. Appreciate the information. And next, what we're going to do is just proceed on to 2 student testimonials. And I'd like to introduce them, and they're both Ian Mcculloch and Katie Rogers. Now, Ian is a recent BMD graduate who maintained a 4.0 GPA. He was a top performer in several BMD courses, and he was the recipient of both the prestigious Dean's Award and the Emma Greenfield Spector Excellence in Research Award. And then Katie, she's a current BMD senior who's also making her mark. Katie was my most recent honors research student, and she was instrumental in testing of the new color development assay for the fabrics, which has not resulted in 1, but now 2 patent applications. And something about Katie is she finished her thesis requirements as a junior, which is typically about a year earlier than expected. And then finally, I'm happy to say and to announce that Katie was recently accepted into our very own USA College of Medicine. And now it gives me great pleasure to hand over the discussion to these 2 outstanding individuals. So either Ian or Katie, if you just want to kind of step up to the microphone and start.
Okay, I'll go first. So hey everyone, my name's Katie and I'm a senior BMD student this year. I just wanted to kind of talk with you guys for a few minutes and offer a little bit of advice and just discuss a few things that I've learned during my time at South. So first, I highly recommend getting to know your professors from the start. I know you've probably heard that a million times and it's been mentioned a few times today, but it honestly just makes life so much easier having someone to help you with your coursework and just navigating college life in general. And it also comes in handy later on when you're thinking about recommendation letters because you're most likely going to need them. So if you take the time now to kind of start to build relationships with your professors, they'll be able to write you a good, meaningful letter later on. I think it's also super beneficial to get involved in clubs. So I am a member of AED, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. But if you're not, it's just a huge pre-health organization. They invite speakers from all healthcare disciplines and have a lot of great opportunities to shadow and volunteer in the community. I'm also in a sorority, so I think Greek life is always a great way to get involved and meet people outside of your major. So if you didn't join this year, you can always join next year. I also wanted to mention the Center of Academic Excellence for tutoring. So it is virtual this year because of COVID, but I think it's a great service that's open to you guys. I personally worked as a chemistry tutor in the center for 3 years, so I know that there's good people who want to help you guys out in any way they can. And it doesn't have to be just tutoring in your courses. If you just want like study tips or just someone to talk to before an exam, we have all of those resources available. And kind of taking from all that advice, I feel like it's important to kind of talk about some challenges I faced as a BMD student. I was always used to making straight A's without really having to try, but when you start to take upper level courses, you kind of begin to understand that you're going to have to study more and you're probably going to have to ask for help. I think my biggest struggle was that I was kind of nervous to reach out to professors and other students, but there was really no reason to be. If you ever have any questions or need any help with anything at all, you can always reach out, because I think the BMD faculty and students are kind of special in that we're like a little family and everyone is just so warm and welcoming. I have had every professor you guys have heard from today with the exception of a few, so I know that they can guide you and help make sure you're successful because they did that for me. So I would say just remember to take a deep breath when things get hard, keep moving forward, keep your goals in perspective, and you'll be successful. And I wish you guys the best of luck, and thank you. That's all I have.
All right, I guess that makes it my turn. As Dr. Ravine said, my name's Ian Mccullough. I'm a recent graduate from BMD. I just graduated here in May, and I'm currently in the midst of a gap year before hopefully getting into medical school. We'll see. Like Katie, I have had pretty much every professor here, including Dr. Swiger, because I was actually a nursing major before I switched to BMD. So I did take the first half of, I took BMD 251 before I was a BMD major. So yeah, I got double anatomy and physio. So anyway, Dr. Ravine approached me to ask me to do this talk. He kind of just said he wanted me to give you guys some tips on how to be successful as a BMD student. So I guess first I would just want to start off with some things that I would have done differently. One of those, the main one that I can think of, is getting more involved in extracurriculars and in the community earlier. Not only is that a good thing to do for you personally and for your community, and I would feel the right thing to do getting involved in your community, but for those of you who are interested in professional careers, going on to grad school, going on to medical school, dental school, whatever, those programs are going to look for that involvement early on and then sustained throughout your career. So early on in my career, I didn't really do that. So then that left me with kind of scrambling to catch up towards the end when some of my my classmates were more able to focus on schoolwork and MCAT prep and things like that. I was still having to pick up shadowing hours. So definitely get involved with that stuff early. So one organization that makes that really easy, like Katie mentioned, and basically what I'm going to say is kind of just an echoing of what Dr. Gordon Hickey and all the professors and Katie has said. So pay attention. This is something, another good tip for BMD is pay attention to things that are repeated, especially in your courses. But now that's really what's going to be important. So get involved in some good organizations. One of those is AED. They have tons of service opportunities, tons of connections, and anything you could be interested in, whether that's tutoring, whether it's community cleanups, working with underserved populations. They have stuff for all of that. And if they don't have a program to get you connected with, they can get you plugged in with people who can. So AED is a great choice. BMD Society is also excellent. It's a much smaller group, so you kind of get a lot more opportunity to network with your peers, with speakers, and with the faculty that do come in and get involved. Additionally, because it's smaller, it gives kind of a better chance for leadership opportunities. So even though there is fewer positions, there's also fewer people looking to fill those positions. Like I said, I didn't get involved early on, so I didn't learn that lesson until too late. So I never actually held one, but I was a member, and also that gives you that dual ASBMB membership, which gives you some pretty good perks. And for example, I was actually selected to go to the national convention this year. That was unfortunately canceled due to COVID, but I was also earned a travel grant that I would not have been able to have even applied for had I not been a member of ASBMB and BMD Society. So definitely get plugged in there. I was also a member of Jaguar Productions. I would definitely suggest getting involved there. For those of you who don't know, JP kind of runs all these different events on campus, whether it's music, movies, talks. I think they do like indoor bow and arrow tag sometimes, probably not now, but stuff like that. There's tons of opportunities to get plugged in there, ways to move up the ladder into leadership positions, some of which are actually paid, which is a big deal for student organizations. So you can actually make a little bit of money. So that's nice. So yeah, definitely AED, BMD Society, JP, and then just kind of wrapping up some tips that I would give. Get plugged in with these organizations as early as you can, and find your niche, kind of where you fit in and the people you fit in with. Because I'm not going to lie to you, BMD is a tough choice. It's a tough major. It's probably one of, if not the hardest on campus. So there is going to be times when you are going to have to just buckle down, grin and bear it, and push through. And when you do, those people are really going to be the ones that are going to help you do that and keep you afloat through those times. Personally, for me, the hardest thing to do was kind of balance curriculum, extracurriculars, friendships, all that kind of thing. So what's really important to me and what I found is to prioritize what you want to do, keep that in focus, and then just buckle down and persevere, and you will get through it. Another tip I would give you guys is to find an upperclassman or a recent graduate or even a professor that's kind of done what you want to do, and ask them how they did it, what they did, find a mentor. Us upperclassmen and recent graduates love to talk about ourselves, as you can see. So we would be more than happy to answer any questions you guys would have. Personally, my wheelhouse is kind of, pre-med stuff, what it's like, how to take those steps, what it's like taking MCAT, application process. I was also involved in research, so how you get started with that, what it's like to write a thesis, things like that. So all the faculty have my contact information. Feel free to give it to whoever asks you for it, if anybody does. So yeah, that's me. Let me know if you guys have any more questions or anything.
Well, thanks, Ian and Katie, and also Saja. Appreciate it. And what I'm going to do is just hand it back over to Dr. Rice.
Thank you all for being here. It's always good to see our current students so successful, doing so many things across both our campus and our community, and our former students continuing the excellence that we knew about them when they were our student. I'm not going to give you any more advice except one thing, that I think the BMD department, the BMD faculty will provide for you. And I think what I would encourage you to do as a student, many of our students are high achieving, very bright individuals, and you are that way as well. Always give yourself the freedom to fail. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be successful in everything you attempt. But give yourself the freedom to try new things, even if you're going to fail at them. And be okay with that, because through our failure, we grow. And these 4 years at South are for you to be able to grow and mature, not simply intellectually and academically, but as a person, to find who you are and become who you will be in your life. So take those risks, take opportunities, seek out opportunities, and be gentle with yourself. Give yourself the freedom to fail and see how much you grow from those experiences. I am so happy to see you all and look forward to meeting you all in person and working with you for the next 4 years. I am here to help you in any way I can to assist you and to promote your success through our curriculum and through our program. And I know my colleagues feel the same way. We are here for you. So thank you for attending today. And I think we've answered most of the questions that have come through the chat. If you have any others, as Ms. Standiford says, please email those to Bmd Dept at South Alabama, and we will respond as soon as we can to your questions or concerns. I think Dr. Ravine's going to finish up with the survey and the raffle and tell how that's going to happen. So normally we would have some punch and cookies and we would all chit chat for a while. We can't do that during COVID, but I know this whole crazy nightmare is going to be over soon. So hang in there with us. And thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Dr. Rice. You know, for the people that are here and for the people that will take a look at it later, I think everyone should have gotten the drawing entry form by now. Just take a minute to complete it. It's just sent to your email, and that'll enter you in, and there'll be some prizes awarded. But other than that, we just want to get some idea of information from you about just why you picked BMD, and then what your future direction may be. But again, I just want to thank everybody for showing up and participating, including the BMD faculty, or what I call a Bernadette, which I do refer to as a spider in the middle of the web, and then also to our current and former student guests, you know, to kind of offer some words of wisdom to people as they go along. And with that, I think we're to the point where we can just kind of finish up and have a good evening. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.